My brother swapped my heart medication as a joke. When I collapsed, my parents pleaded with me to stay silent. But when the toxicology report came back, the doctor's face drained of color. What they found in my system wasn't a harmless prank. It was attempted murder. But my name is Elodie Parrish, and if you think you know how this ends, stay tuned. What do you call family when the safest place becomes the one with an exit? The pill bottle looked the same, soft blue, friendly font, the same cap, the same rattle, but the rhythm inside was off. Like a metronome, slightly out of sync. They wheeled me under fluorescent lights. I counted ceiling tiles like children count shooting stars, wishing for breath, wishing for time. Mom squeezed my hand. Dad stared down the hallway, avoiding my gaze. My brother stood at a distance as if guilt had drawn an invisible line. The doctor didn't say much at first. Clipboard, pen, a quick glance at the lab tech, then another. A whisper, meant to be private, reached me. Substituted compounds, a dosage that could stop a heart if someone wanted it to. I heard accidental mix-up, like thunder on a sunny day. It didn't belong, but it was there. Mom's voice broke. "Please, Elodie, don't make this a scene." Dad's jaw tightened. "Think about your brother's future." My future was just a flicker on a monitor. Beep, beep, beep. Promises floated around my bed like vapor. "We'll handle this privately. Let's not ruin lives. We're family." Family shouldn't taste like metal. The doctor returned with the printout. Her hands were steady, but the paper trembled. She met my eyes, as if leading me through a door I alone was meant to walk through. "Miss Parrish," she said softly, "this wasn't a mistake." Somewhere in the waiting room, a vending machine hummed. Somewhere inside me, something colder locked into place. I wasn't going to be their silence. They told me it was just a joke. That line echoed so many times, I started tasting it in my dreams. A joke that stopped my lungs. A joke that made my heart skip mid-beat like a broken record. I spent 4 nights in cardiac monitoring. My arms were covered in bruises and needle marks. Machines whispered codes I didn't understand. He brought me flowers, yellow tulips, my favorite. He stood at the foot of my hospital bed and smiled as if he'd scraped his knee, not poisoned his sister. "Come on, Elodie," he shrugged. "It was a prank. You're fine, right? You always bounce back." My parents stood beside him like defense attorneys. "He's just a boy," Dad insisted. "He didn't mean harm," Mom pleaded. "He loves you," they said together. But love shouldn't need translating. Dr. Ree wasn't family, and that made her the only one telling the truth. She explained the substance wasn't remotely related to my prescribed meds. The dosage was enough to cause arrhythmia if I hadn't collapsed near someone trained in CPR. Her pause said everything. I asked her to print everything. She did. 19 pages of Betrayal, written in chemical names and blood markers. I read every line like it was a confession. Then, I checked my brother's browser history on our shared family computer. A few keywords and there it was. A search for substitutes for beta blockers. Then another. How much is too much? He hadn't just swapped bottles. He'd studied the dosage, planned it, timed it, just before my scholarship interview, the one that would have taken me 3 states away from him, from them. He didn't want a sister. He wanted a puppet with a pulse. And the worst part was, they all knew. I didn't confront him. I watched. Because sometimes silence cuts deeper than accusations. I needed more than outrage. I needed proof. The kind that would hold up in court, not just in whispered hospital halls. So, I let them think I'd folded, that I'd swallowed their lies, just like I once swallowed pills I thought were safe. 2 days later, they brought me home. The air in the house felt thinner. Or maybe I was just breathing more deeply. I checked the medicine cabinet. My original bottle was gone, replaced neatly with a new one. The label was correct. The timing, though, too perfect, too neat. That night, I watched my brother. He laughed with our parents over takeout, even watched a comedy show. But I noticed how he lingered near my water glass. The next morning, I began setting up cameras. cheap ones hidden behind books and tissue boxes. One in the kitchen, one in the hallway, and one aimed directly at the drawer where my medications were kept. It didn't take long. 2 nights later, I reviewed the footage at 3 a.m. There he was, opening the drawer and swapping the bottles again, wearing gloves. He even wiped the handles before leaving. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I copied the footage to a flash drive, labeled it July birthdays, and hid it in my sock jar. Then I made a second copy and uploaded it to a cloud folder only I could access. I started gathering everything: screenshots of his internet searches, my toxicology reports, the labels from the tampered bottles, Dr. Ree's written analysis, footage from the cameras. I built a case, one document, one timestamp at a time. This wasn't just attempted murder, it was strategy. And I wasn't just a victim. I was a witness who'd survived. My parents noticed the change. I wasn't playing the fragile girl anymore. I was watching, calculating. That scared them more than my collapse ever had. Dad started making offhand remarks. "Don't hold grudges, Elodie. It's not healthy." Mom brought me tea and tucked her lies in with cinnamon and honey. "You know, your brother has always had impulse issues." Impulse? He used gloves, wiped fingerprints, and studied dosages. That wasn't impulse. That was intent. And yet, they kept pushing. A quiet war of gaslighting. You're seeing threats where there aren't any. You're still recovering. Maybe it's the medication messing with your thoughts. Don't throw the family into chaos over one mistake. One mistake that could have stopped my heart. One mistake that came with premeditation. I said nothing. Instead, I called Dr. Ree again. "Are you willing to testify?" I asked. She hesitated. "Are you sure you want to take this public?" I stared at my reflection in the microwave's glossy surface, the ghost version of me they preferred. "I don't want revenge," I said. "I want a record. I want the truth to exist somewhere. It can't be erased." She agreed. I began writing everything down: the story, the symptoms, the hospital codes. Each day, I remembered something new. A glance, a whisper, a skipped heartbeat at the wrong time. I filled an entire notebook. Then, one morning, the drawer was open. My flash drive was gone. The July birthdays one. I checked the sock drawer 3 times. Then I checked the upload log. The cloud copy was still there, safe. But now I knew they were on to me. Someone had searched my room, and by doing so, they confirmed everything I feared. They weren't protecting him anymore. They were covering for all of them. They underestimated me. That's what happens when you've spent your life being the fragile one, the girl with the heart condition, the girl who needed rest, not resistance. But I had already backed up the backup, and now I had leverage. I visited Dr. Ree in person, handed her a printed copy of the footage and medical reports, and told her about the missing flash drive. Her eyes hardened. "Elodie, this is beyond a joke. This is criminal behavior and obstruction." We sat in her office, the door locked, the blind drawn. She told me about a patient advocacy lawyer she knew, a discreet, sharp former prosecutor. "I'll call him," she said. Meanwhile, at home, the tension dripped like a leaky faucet. No one said the word poison, but they all started acting like, "Do you want to?" That's when I hesitated. Not because I doubted myself, but because pressing charges would mean exposing everything: the family name, the facade, the illusion of loyalty. But they had already made their choice. When they erased my meds, they drew the line in red. I crossed it. "Yes," I said. "Let's begin." And somewhere in the house, behind closed doors, I swear I heard a drawer slam shut, like someone realizing the leash was finally off. The first hearing was quiet, not a trial, just an initial review to authorize an investigation. But my brother didn't show. My parents did. Mom wore her Sunday grace face. Dad brought a manila folder, probably filled with excuses. They didn't know I had already signed an affidavit. They didn't know Dr. Reed had too. They didn't know Wes had submitted the cloud footage, the time-stamped browser history, and the certified toxicology report. All sealed, all admissible. I walked past them in the hallway. My mom reached out to touch my arm. "Elodie, baby!" I pulled back. "Don't," I whispered. Her eyes welled, but I didn't believe her anymore. You can't cry over spilled blood when you helped set the table. That night, my phone lit up with a message from an unknown number. "You're destroying everything. Hope it's worth it." I didn't need to ask who sent it. My brother never did like losing. I took a screenshot and sent it to Wes. He replied within seconds. "Don't respond. Let it stack. Let it stack." The phrase stayed with me because I wasn't destroying the family. I was documenting it. Each lie, each silence, each manipulation, a layer. And at the center, a single truth they couldn't outrun. They didn't protect me. They protected the idea of him, the golden child, the clever one, the boy who just made a mistake. But mistakes don't repeat. Mistakes don't wear gloves. Mistakes don't erase medicine and send threats from burner phones. This was a pattern, a choice. And for the first time in my life, the system, the actual legal system, was listening. My brother wasn't just a troubled boy. He was now officially under investigation, and that changed everything. 3 weeks later, I received a formal letter with a state seal. Return address from the Department of Public Prosecution. Case 41B, preliminary criminal inquiry approved. Just below it, my brother's full name. It didn't feel victorious. It felt cold, clean, like something sacred had been stripped from the word family. But justice is rarely warm. That same evening, Mom called. First time since the hearing. "Elodie, we can fix this. Just drop the charges." I sat on my bed, the unopened pill bottle resting on my nightstand. "How long have you known?" I asked. Her silence was louder than any answer. Then softly, "Since the first time you collapsed." I closed my eyes. "That wasn't this time," I said. "That was 2 years ago." "You mean he's done this before?" "It wasn't the same," she whispered, as if softening the crime would soften the outcome. "It wasn't lethal. He just wanted attention. He didn't think. He never thinks." I cut in. "Because you all do the thinking for him." "Elodie, please, he's your brother." "No, he's your shield." Click. I hung up. My inbox lit up an hour later. An anonymous tip submission acknowledgement. Wes had filed it on my behalf with the medical board. My brother had once been a pharmacy intern. He still had access to suppliers. The medication swap didn't start at home. It started at the source.